In the labyrinth of existence, we often grapple with the profound questions of meaning and purpose. Is life inherently meaningful, or is it a blank canvas upon which we must paint our own significance? Let's embark on a journey of philosophical reflection, drawing wisdom from timeless insights to rewire our minds for resilience and navigate the complexities of being human. Consider this: meaningfulness or meaninglessness of life. I believe that destiny isn't predetermined by the cosmos, but rather it's forged in the crucible of our choices. We are not accountable for the universe's grand design, but profoundly responsible for the narrative we inscribe within the fleeting chapters of our own lives. What will you create with the life you've been given? Now, imagine a seeker intensely pursuing a singular goal. Siddhartha wisely observed, "When someone is consumed by seeking, it becomes incredibly easy to only perceive what aligns with their quest. The world around them, rich with potential discoveries, fades into the periphery. They become blind to the subtle nuances, deaf to the whispers of unexpected wisdom, all because their mind is laser-focused on a predefined target." He continued, highlighting a crucial distinction. Seeking is inherently tied to having a goal, a fixed point on the horizon. But finding is an entirely different state of being. Finding is liberation. It's about cultivating receptivity, shedding the rigid goal, and opening oneself to the serendipitous dance of life. Are you a seeker, so fixated on the destination that you miss the extraordinary journey unfolding right before you? The relentless pursuit of goals can indeed blind us to the present moment, to the subtle wonders under our very noses. You, a seeker of worth, Siddhartha mused, in your fervent striving, you often overlook the myriad of subtle miracles, the quiet revelations that lie just inches from your face, unnoticed, unacknowledged, lost in the clamor of ambition. Yet life, in its unpredictable nature, throws both shadows and sunlight our way. I've always held firm to this conviction, comes a voice of unwavering optimism that regardless of the fortunes, be they benevolent or brutal, that life bestows upon us, we possess the alchemical power to imbue them with meaning. We can transmute even the harshest adversity into something of profound and lasting value. What meaning will you extract from your trials? In our interactions with the world, what should be our guiding principle? It may be the preoccupation of great minds, a thoughtful voice suggests, to dissect and scrutinize the world, to analyze its flaws, and perhaps even hold it in contempt. But I propose a different path, a more human path. I believe it is fundamentally more vital, more profoundly important to cultivate love for the world, not disdain. Not to breed animosity amongst ourselves, but to nurture a capacity to behold the world, ourselves and every living being with a heart brimming with love, with genuine admiration and with deep respect. Consider the diverse paths we tread in life. Most individuals, it's observed, resemble a falling leaf, adrift in the wind's capricious whims, spiraling through the air, caught in unpredictable currents, ultimately earthbound. But a select few, they are like stars. They chart a course, a defined trajectory across the vast expanse. Unwavering, undisturbed by earthly winds, they possess an internal compass, a self-generated guidance system illuminating their destined path. Which path resonates more with your inner compass? Each of us is a universe unto ourselves. Every individual, it is profoundly stated, is far more than mere singular existence. Each person embodies the unique, the extraordinarily special intersection point where the world's intricate phenomena converge, an event occurring only once in the vast tapestry of time and space and destined to never repeat in quite the same way. This singularity, This unrepeatable confluence renders every life story eternally significant, inherently sacred. Therefore, every life holds an inherent worth. Every human being, for the duration of their earthly journey, as long as they live in accordance with their innate nature, is a source of wonder, deserving of our deepest contemplation and respect. Within each of us, the very essence of spirit takes on physical form. In every person, creation itself experiences both joy and suffering. And within each heart, a potential for redemption, a chance for transcendence, resides sometimes unknowingly, nailed to their own cross of existence. In this complex existence, discernment is key. Learn with unwavering focus what truly warrants your seriousness, what commands your deepest attention, and then learn to laugh at the rest. Cultivate a lightness of being, a sense of humor that allows you to navigate life's absurdities without being crushed by its weight. Consider the nature of hatred. If animosity takes root in your heart towards another, it is wisely said it signifies a conflict within, a self-rejection. You are hating something within them that mirrors a part of yourself you struggle to accept. For what truly lies outside our inner landscape, what is genuinely foreign to our being, holds no power to disturb us, to provoke such intense emotion. Resilience isn't always about grand gestures. To hold your tongue amidst a torrent of gossip, to offer a genuine smile, devoid of hostility, to individuals and institutions alike, these are quiet acts of strength. To compensate for the world's deficit of love by infusing small, private moments with greater affection, to dedicate oneself more faithfully to one's work, to cultivate deeper patience, to resist the petty allure of mockery and criticism. These are all tangible actions within our reach, pathways to a more resilient spirit. Where does true reality reside? There exists no reality, it is asserted, except that which is meticulously constructed and contained within the chambers of our own consciousness. This is the profound reason why so many navigate an existence that feels unreal. They chase shadows, mistaking external images, fleeting projections, for authentic substance. They neglect to nurture, to acknowledge the vibrant, potent world pulsating within, failing to allow its truth to surface and assert itself. Words, our primary tool for communication, are inherently limited. Words, it is observed with a touch of melancholy, fall short of perfectly encapsulating thought. They are imperfect vessels, always undergoing subtle shifts in meaning, becoming slightly altered, slightly diluted, even slightly foolish the moment they leave our lips. What profound advice can be offered on this journey? What words of true value could I possibly impart? A voice questions, except this. Perhaps, just perhaps, you are seeking too relentlessly, and paradoxically, it is precisely because of this fervent seeking, this insatiable desire, that the very thing you yearn for remains perpetually elusive, forever out of reach. The path of seeking can transform over time. I myself have walked the seeker's path, and indeed I still consider myself a seeker in many ways, but my quest has evolved. I have learned to temper my questioning of distant stars and ancient texts. I have turned inward, choosing instead to listen intently to the quiet wisdom that my own blood whispers, the intuitive knowledge residing deep within. Strength is often misunderstood. Some believe it is noted that strength is synonymous with unwavering grip, with tenacious holding on, but life often reveals a profound paradox. Sometimes, true strength lies not in holding on, but in the courageous act of letting go. What are you holding on to that might be hindering your growth? Suffering, often perceived as an adversary, may hold a deeper purpose. I have come to understand, a voice reflects, that the inevitable encounters with suffering, disappointment, and melancholy are not designed to torment us, to diminish our spirit, or to rob us of our inherent dignity. Instead, these challenging experiences serve a transformative function, acting as catalysts for maturation, for profound transfiguration. They are the fires in which our resilience is forged. True wisdom is not easily transmitted. Wisdom, it is stated with certainty, cannot be simply handed from one person to another. The wisdom that a sage attempts to articulate, to impart to another, often sounds like mere foolishness to the ears of the receiver, whose experience has not yet prepared them to understand. Knowledge can be communicated, facts can be transferred, but wisdom is different. It must be discovered, lived, embodied. It can inspire wonders, shape destinies, but it cannot be packaged, lectured, or taught in the conventional sense. Love, a force often associated with happiness, may have a more profound role. Oh, love, a voice sighs. It isn't merely present to shower us with fleeting happiness. I believe its true, deeper existence is to reveal to us the astonishing depths of our own capacity to endure, to persevere, to withstand the inevitable storms of the heart. Consider the nature of law and freedom. Those who choose the path of least resistance, those who prioritize comfort over critical thought, who are too indolent to judge for themselves, they readily adhere to externally imposed laws. But others, the independent thinkers, the self-reliant spirits, they sense their own internal compass, their own inherent moral code, guiding their actions from within. The complexities of human connection are often paradoxical. Often it is observed, it is precisely the most deserving souls, those with the most generous hearts, who find themselves inexplicably drawn to, even loving, those who inflict pain, those who seek to tear them down. It is a perplexing, often heartbreaking facet of the human condition. Personal experience is a powerful teacher. Through the intricate language of my own body and soul, a voice confesses, I have come to learn that even what we deem sin can be a necessary part of the journey. I needed to grapple with desire, to understand lust, to strive for material possessions, to taste the bitter ashes of nausea and the chilling depths of despair. Only through these trials could I learn not to resist the full spectrum of human experience, to embrace the world in its entirety, to cease comparing it to some unattainable, idealized fantasy of perfection, to accept it as it is, in its raw, unfiltered beauty and imperfection, to love it fiercely, and to find profound gratitude in simply belonging to this intricate, messy, magnificent tapestry of existence. Each individual possesses a unique calling. Every person, it is declared, has but one authentic vocation in this earthly sojourn, to discover the singular path that leads to their own true self. Their paramount task is to unearth their individual destiny, not some externally imposed or arbitrarily chosen path, but their own inherent purpose, and then to live it out with unwavering commitment, wholly and resolutely from the depths of their being. Everything else, all other pursuits, are merely shadows of true existence, diluted attempts at life, deviations from authenticity, a desperate flight back towards the perceived safety of mass ideals, the stifling embrace of conformity, and the paralyzing fear of confronting one's own inner landscape. Self-judgment and external judgment are distinct domains. It is not my prerogative, a voice asserts, to pass judgment on another's life, to impose my values or understanding onto their unique journey. My responsibility lies solely within the confines of my own existence. I must judge, I must choose, I must reject or embrace, but these acts of discernment are purely for myself, for my own soul's evolution, for myself alone. We are interconnected, yet distinct. We are sun and moon, my dear friend. We are the vast expanse of the sea and the solid grounding of the land. Our purpose in this intricate dance of existence is not to dissolve into one another, to lose our individual contours in a quest for sameness. It is, rather, to recognize each other in our distinctness, to learn from our differences, to truly see the other, and to honor them deeply for the unique being they are. Each of us is the other's opposite, yes, but also, and perhaps more importantly, each of us is the other's essential complement, completing a larger, more beautiful whole. Maturity marks a significant shift in perspective. Youth, in its fiery intensity, fades when egotism begins to wane. Maturity dawns, true adulthood commences, precisely when one's life expands beyond the confines of self, when one begins to live genuinely for others, for something larger than the individual ego. In a world often saturated with noise, what do we truly seek? Whoever yearns for music amidst the cacophony of noise, whoever seeks genuine joy beyond fleeting pleasure, whoever hungers for soul nourishment rather than mere material gold, whoever is driven by creative impulse rather than the sterile pursuit of business, whoever burns with authentic passion instead of succumbing to the triviality of foolery, will inevitably find themselves feeling homeless in this superficial, often shallow world of ours. Nature offers profound lessons in resilience. Trees, it is poetically declared, have always been the most profound, the most deeply penetrating preachers of life's enduring truths. I hold them in reverence when they gather in communities, in tribes, in the hushed grandeur of forests and groves. And even more profoundly, I revere them when they stand alone, solitary sentinels against the sky. They are like those rare, lonely individuals, not hermits retreating from weakness, but akin to the solitary greatness of a Beethoven or a Nietzsche. Their highest branches rustle with the whispers of the world, while their roots delve deep into the infinite. Yet they do not lose themselves in this immensity. They strive with every fiber of their being for a singular purpose, to fulfill their inherent nature, to realize their potential according to their own inner laws, to sculpt their unique form, to stand as a testament to themselves. Nothing, truly nothing, is more sacred, more exemplary than a beautiful, strong, resilient tree. The story of resilience is etched within. When a tree is felled and its naked wound is exposed to the sun, you can read its entire life story inscribed within the luminous disk of its trunk. In the intricate rings of its years, in the silent language of its scars, all is revealed. The struggles endured, the sickness weathered, the moments of flourishing happiness and abundant prosperity, all stand truthfully written. The lean years and the bountiful years, the internal battles fought, the external storms survived. And every young farm boy intuitively knows that the most resilient, the noblest wood, is born from the narrowest rings, forged high on the mountains, in constant peril, where the most indestructible, the strongest, the truly ideal trees grow. Trees offer sanctuary and profound wisdom. Trees are sanctuaries, living temples of wisdom. Whoever learns the language of trees, whoever cultivates the art of listening to their silent pronouncements, can unlock profound truths about existence. They do not preach through doctrines or rigid precepts. They teach, undeterred by fleeting trends or superficial details, the ancient, unwavering law of life itself. Listen to the tree's silent wisdom. A tree whispers, "Within me lies a kernel of potential, a spark of the divine, a nascent thought waiting to unfold. I am life, sprung forth from eternal life itself." The Eternal Mother, in her boundless creativity, took a unique chance, a singular risk, in bringing me into being. Unique, utterly unique, is the form and intricate veining of my bark. Unique, the delicate dance of leaves in my branches. Unique, even the smallest scar etched upon my surface. I was crafted intentionally by the Eternal in my most minute, most particular detail. The unconscious holds immense power. Until you consciously illuminate the unconscious realms of your mind, it will relentlessly direct the course of your life, shaping your choices, dictating your reactions, molding your perceived reality. And you, unaware of its hidden hand, will simply call it fate. Clarity arises from introspection. Your inner visions, the true compass of your soul, will only become sharply defined, vividly clear, when you possess the courage to gaze deeply into the depths of your own heart. For he who fixates on the external world, on the fleeting illusions of the surface, merely dreams, but he who turns inward, who dares to explore the uncharted territories of his inner landscape, he awakens. Facing our inner selves can be daunting. People, it is stated with stark honesty, will resort to almost anything, embrace even the most absurd beliefs, engage in the most irrational behaviors, all in a desperate attempt to evade the profound, often unsettling confrontation with their own souls. The journey inward is not for the faint of heart. Enlightenment is not about chasing illusions of perfection. One does not attain enlightenment, it is clarified, by conjuring idealized images of radiant light, by pursuing ethereal fantasies of flawless being. True enlightenment is forged in the crucible of darkness, achieved by bravely, unflinchingly, making the darkness conscious, bringing the shadows into the light of awareness. Embrace silence and listen to the whispers of your inner world. Be silent, a voice urges, and listen. Have you truly recognized the madness that dwells within you, the inherent contradictions and irrationalities that are part of the human condition? And more importantly, do you possess the courage to admit it, to acknowledge its presence without judgment or fear? Welcome your madness, for it is part of your wholeness. Have you noticed, the voice continues, probing deeper, that the very foundations upon which you build your life, your beliefs, your sense of self, are in their essence inextricably intertwined with madness, with inherent illogicality? Do you resist acknowledging this fundamental truth? Or are you willing to welcome your madness, to embrace it with open arms as a familiar, albeit unsettling companion? You sought to accept everything, didn't you? Then accept madness too, for it is undeniably part of the human tapestry. Madness, when embraced, can illuminate the path. Let the light of your madness shine forth, unfiltered, unashamed, and in doing so, a profound realization may dawn upon you. Madness is not something to be despised, nor something to be feared and suppressed. Instead, it is a vital force, a raw energy that you should learn to channel, to give life to integrate into your being. If you genuinely seek new paths, if you yearn for authentic direction, then do not reject madness. Do not spurn its presence, for it constitutes a significant, undeniable part of your very nature. Be grateful even that you possess the capacity to recognize it, for in that recognition lies the power to avoid becoming its unwitting victim. Madness is an inherent aspect of the human spirit. Madness, it is revealed, is not a deviation, but a special, potent form of the spirit itself. It clings to all teachings, to all philosophies, coloring them with its unique hue. But even more profoundly, it permeates daily life, for life itself, in its raw, unfiltered form, is brimming with craziness, fundamentally illogical at its core. Humanity strives for reason, yes, but this striving is often a desperate attempt to impose order, to create artificial rules in a universe that inherently resists such rigid structures. Life itself has no preordained rules, and in this very absence of rules lies its profound mystery, its unknowable law. Knowledge is but a limited perspective. What you confidently label as knowledge, it is suggested, is often merely a valiant, yet ultimately limited attempt to impose a semblance of comprehensibility onto the vast, inherently incomprehensible tapestry of life. It is a filter, a lens, but never the full, unfiltered spectrum of reality. Irritations can be pathways to self-understanding. Everything that grates on your nerves, everything that irritates you about others, holds a hidden gift, a potential pathway. These irritations, these points of friction, can, if examined with courageous self-reflection, lead you to a deeper, more nuanced understanding of yourself. They are mirrors, reflecting back your own unacknowledged aspects. You are not defined by your past. I am not merely a product of what has happened to me, a passive recipient of life's unfolding events. I am, fundamentally, what I actively choose to become. The power of self-creation, the agency to shape my own destiny, resides within my choices, in each moment, in every breath. Passion and purpose are intertwined. A soul that has not journeyed through the inferno of its own passions, that has not wrestled with and ultimately transcended its inner demons, remains incomplete. As far as we can discern, the singular, overarching purpose of human existence, in all its bewildering complexity, is to ignite a flicker of light, a spark of consciousness within the vast, indifferent darkness of mere being, to illuminate the void with meaning, with purpose, with love. Self-awareness is key to navigating the darkness of others. Profoundly knowing your own inner darkness, acknowledging your own shadows, is not a weakness, but rather the most potent, most effective method for navigating, for understanding, for compassionately engaging with the darkness that inevitably resides within others. Self-awareness is the ultimate tool for empathy. Loneliness is not about physical isolation. Loneliness, it is clarified, does not stem from a mere absence of human presence, from being physically alone. True loneliness arises from a deeper chasm, from an inability to authentically communicate the very things that resonate as most vital, most meaningful to one's own soul, or from holding perspectives, harboring convictions that are deemed inadmissible, incomprehensible, or simply too challenging by the prevailing currents of thought. The mind is a pendulum swinging between extremes. The mind in its restless activity is like a pendulum, perpetually oscillating between the poles of sense and nonsense, swinging back and forth between moments of clarity and periods of confusion. It is not a binary of right and wrong, but a spectrum of perception, a dance between logic and intuition. Darkness and light are inseparable aspects of life. There are as many nights as there are days, and each holds equal measure in the grand cycle of a year. Even a life painted with happiness, blessed with joy, cannot exist without its necessary counterpoint, without a certain measure of darkness woven into its fabric. The very word happy would lose its resonance, its profound meaning, if it were not constantly balanced, perpetually defined by the contrasting presence of sadness. Meaning is subjective, perspective is everything. Ultimately, it all hinges on perspective, on the unique lens through which we choose to perceive the world, and far less on the objective nature of things themselves. The smallest of things, imbued with personal meaning, resonates with far greater significance in the tapestry of life than the grandest of achievements, the most impressive of accomplishments, devoid of that essential, subjective spark. Life is a journey of ego development and transcendence. The first chapter of life, the initial ascent, is largely dedicated to the crucial task of forging a healthy, robust ego, establishing a solid sense of self. But the second half, the descent into deeper wisdom, beckons us inward, inviting us to gracefully relinquish the overbearing demands of the ego, to transcend its limitations, and to explore the deeper, more profound currents of human existence. Love and power are opposing forces. Where love truly reigns, where genuine connection flourishes, there exists no will to dominate, no hunger for power. Conversely, where power becomes the dominant force, where control and dominance prevail, love inevitably withers. Love is fundamentally lacking. These two forces, love and power, exist in a perpetual dance of shadow and light, each defining and shaping the other. Embrace the multifaceted self. I find myself in constant flux, a kaleidoscope of emotions, astonished, then disappointed, then inexplicably pleased with this ever-changing entity I call myself. I am simultaneously distressed and deeply depressed, yet also capable of moments of rapturous joy. I am, in any given moment, all these conflicting things at once, a complex, often paradoxical sum that refuses to be neatly added up, neatly categorized. I am incapable of rendering a definitive judgment on my own ultimate worth, my own inherent worthlessness. I hold no fixed judgment about myself, about the meandering, unpredictable trajectory of my life. There is, in truth, very little I can claim to be absolutely certain about. I hold no unwavering convictions, not about anything, really. I know only this: I was born into existence, thrust onto this stage of being, and it profoundly seems to me that I have been, and continue to be, carried along by forces far greater than my individual will. I exist, yes, but my existence rests upon a foundation of profound mystery, something ultimately unknowable to my finite understanding. Intellect and feeling are both valid paths to understanding. We must resist the illusion that the world can be comprehended solely through the lens of intellect, through the cold, detached gaze of reason. We apprehend reality just as profoundly, just as authentically, through the rich tapestry of feeling, through the intuitive wisdom of the heart. Therefore, the judgments rendered by intellect alone, however sharp and precise, represent, at best, only half of the truth, a fragmented perspective, and if intellectual honesty is to prevail, it must ultimately arrive at a humble understanding of its own inherent inadequacy, its inherent limitations. Mistakes are stepping stones to truth. Mistakes, those inevitable stumbles on the path of learning, are not failures, but rather the very foundations upon which truth is ultimately constructed. If one is initially ignorant of a thing's true nature, the very act of identifying what it is not represents a tangible increase in knowledge, a step closer to understanding. Growth requires embracing both light and darkness. No tree, it is wisely said, can aspire to reach the heavens, to touch the celestial realm, unless its roots delve deep, courageously, into the depths of hell, into the shadowy underbelly of existence. Growth, true growth, necessitates embracing the full spectrum of being, light and shadow intertwined. The mind shapes our reality. It is my own mind, with its boundless storehouse of images, memories, and associations, that bestows upon the world its vibrant colors, its resonant sounds, its textured richness. And that seemingly solid, supremely real, and rationally comprehensible certainty that I experience as reality is, in its most fundamental form, an exceedingly intricate, endlessly complex structure woven from mental images. Thus, in a very real sense, there is nothing that is directly, unmediatedly experienced except the mind itself, the very instrument of perception. Everything we encounter, everything we perceive, is filtered, translated, allegorized, and yes, even twisted and falsified by the ever-active, ever-interpreting mind. We are perpetually enveloped in a cloud of constantly shifting, endlessly transforming images, a subjective reality constructed from within. Addiction takes many forms. Every form of addiction in its essence is detrimental, a path to enslavement, regardless of the specific substance or object of dependence. Whether the narcotic be a tangible substance like alcohol or morphine, or an intangible construct like idealism, the underlying principle remains the same. Addiction, in all its forms, diminishes true freedom. Modern neurosis often stems from meaninglessness. Approximately 1/3 of my patients, a voice reveals from the realm of psychology, suffer not from clinically definable neurosis in the traditional sense, but from a more pervasive, more insidious ailment, the profound sense of senselessness, the gnawing emptiness that pervades their lives. This condition, this existential vacuum, can be accurately defined as the general neurosis of our modern age, a collective malaise born from a lack of meaning, a lack of purpose, a lack of connection to something larger than oneself. Midlife is a time for ego transcendence. Midlife, that pivotal juncture in the human journey, is not merely a descent into aging, but rather a profound invitation. It is a time to consciously, intentionally release the over-dominant grip of our ego, to loosen its control, and to embark on a deeper contemplation of the enduring significance, the ultimate meaning of human existence itself. It is a time for reflection, for re-evaluation, for spiritual deepening. Wholeness embraces contradictions. True wholeness, authentic integration, is not achieved through fragmentation, through surgically excising portions of one's being deemed undesirable or unacceptable. Rather, wholeness emerges from the courageous, often arduous process of integration, of harmonizing the inherent contradictions within, of embracing the paradoxical nature of self. It is in the dance of opposites that true unity is found. Order exists even within chaos. Even within the seeming randomness of chaos, a hidden cosmos subtly operates, a deeper order waiting to be discerned. Even in the apparent disorder of existence, a secret, underlying structure persists, a pattern woven into the fabric of reality itself. Look closer, and you may perceive the hidden harmony within the apparent dissonance. Inadequate answers lead to neurosis. I have frequently witnessed individuals descend into neurotic states precisely when they settle for inadequate, superficial, or fundamentally wrong answers to life's most profound questions. They chase after fleeting markers of success, position, societal validation through marriage, reputation, outward displays of wealth, and find themselves profoundly unhappy, deeply neurotic, even when they attain the very things they so desperately sought. Such individuals are often confined, imprisoned within the suffocatingly narrow confines of a limited spiritual horizon. Their lives lack sufficient depth, sufficient richness of content, sufficient meaning. However, when these same individuals are empowered, are guided, to cultivate more spacious, more expansive personalities, to broaden their perspectives, to delve into deeper questions, their neurosis, remarkably, often simply disappears, dissolves in the light of expanded consciousness. Loneliness can be a consequence of deeper knowing. As a child, I felt profoundly alone, set apart from the world around me, and in many ways, I still carry that sense of solitude. This is because I possess a certain knowing, an awareness of realities that others seemingly remain oblivious to. Realities that, for the most part, they actively choose not to acknowledge, not to confront. This knowing, this awareness, can at times be a source of profound loneliness. Self-acceptance is the core of morality, the radical acceptance of oneself, in all one's messy imperfection, stands as the very essence, the very heart of the entire moral problem. It is the epitome, the culminating point of a truly holistic outlook on life, to feed the hungry, to forgive an offense, to extend love even to one's enemies. These are undeniably noble virtues, acts of profound grace. What you do unto the least of my brethren, that you do unto me, the timeless wisdom echoes. But what if, the voice challenges, What if I were to discover, to truly confront the unsettling truth that the least among them all, the poorest of beggars, the most impotent of offenders, even the very enemy himself, that these figures reside not out there, but within the very landscape of my own being, and that I myself stand in desperate need of the very arms of my own kindness, my own compassion, my own forgiveness, that I myself am the enemy who must be loved unconditionally from the inside out. Self-compassion is often overlooked. As a general rule, it is observed with a hint of irony. The typical Christian attitude, and perhaps the attitude of humanity in general, is often strikingly reversed when directed inward. There is no longer any question of extending love, of practicing long-suffering, of offering grace to the self. Instead, we turn on the brother within, the flawed, imperfect aspects of our own being, labeling them wrecker, saboteur, and condemning ourselves with relentless rage. We desperately attempt to conceal these disowned parts of ourselves from the judging gaze of the world, refusing to even acknowledge, let alone embrace, this least among the lowly residing within our own hearts. True wealth is not material possession. We are not rendered rich by the abundance of what we materially possess, by the accumulation of worldly goods. True wealth, authentic abundance, lies in the expansive capacity to do without, to find contentment in simplicity, to discover richness in the immaterial realms of being. Treat humanity as an end, not a means. Act in such a way, in every interaction, in every decision, that you treat humanity, whether embodied in your own person, in your own precious being, or in the person of any other soul you encounter, never merely as a means to achieve some external end, never as a tool to be exploited or manipulated, but always and simultaneously recognize and honor each individual as an end in themselves, as inherently valuable, as possessing intrinsic worth, deserving of dignity and respect simply by virtue of their being. Knowledge progresses from senses to reason. All our knowledge, all our understanding of this intricate world originates in the raw data of the senses, the immediate experiences that bombard us from moment to moment. It then proceeds, step by step, to the realm of understanding, where we begin to categorize, to interpret, to make sense of these sensory inputs. And ultimately, it culminates in the domain of reason, the highest faculty of human cognition. There is, within the human capacity for knowing, nothing that surpasses the power, the scope, the potential of reason. Seek wisdom, not popularity. Do not expend your precious energy chasing after the fleeting favor of the multitude, the fickle approval of the masses, for such widespread acclaim is rarely, if ever, attained through honest and ethically sound means. Instead, seek the discerning testimony of the few, the wise, the insightful. And when evaluating truth, do not merely count voices, do not simply tally opinions, but rather weigh them, assess their depth, their validity, their resonance with authentic wisdom. Genius is innate understanding. Genius, that elusive spark of brilliance, is fundamentally defined by the innate ability to independently arrive at, to intuitively grasp, and to profoundly understand complex concepts, intricate ideas that would, for most, normally necessitate explicit instruction, requiring the patient guidance of another person to be comprehended. Enlightenment is self-reliance. Enlightenment in its essence is humanity's arduous, ongoing emergence from a self-imposed state of immaturity, a self-created prison of dependence. Immaturity in this context is not a matter of age, but rather the persistent inability, the crippling unwillingness to utilize one's own understanding, one's own cognitive faculties, without the crutch of external guidance, without perpetually seeking validation or direction from another. Wonder and awe inspire reflection. Two profound phenomena perpetually fill my mind with an ever-increasing sense of wonder, an overwhelming feeling of awe, a deep sense of reverence. The more frequently, the more intensely my contemplation dwells upon them, the more profoundly they resonate within my being, the breathtaking expanse of the starry heavens above in their infinite majesty, and the unwavering moral law that resides inexplicably within me, guiding my conscience, shaping my ethical compass. Morality is about worthiness, not just happiness. Morality, in its truest, most profound sense, is not primarily concerned with crafting a doctrine, a set of rules, for how we might most effectively manufacture fleeting happiness for ourselves. Rather, morality's deeper purpose is to illuminate the path, to cultivate the qualities that render us worthy of happiness, deserving of genuine fulfillment, capable of embracing joy with integrity and grace. Rules for happiness are simple, yet profound. The fundamental rules for cultivating happiness, for nurturing a life of meaning and joy, can be distilled into three deceptively simple directives. Find something meaningful to do, something that ignites your passion, something that calls to your purpose. Find someone or many someones to genuinely love, to connect with deeply, to share your heart with. And finally, always relentlessly cultivate something to hope for, a vision of a brighter future, a horizon towards which your spirit can strive. People gravitate towards demanding doctrines. Human beings, in their complex nature, are often drawn most powerfully to doctrines, to belief systems that paradoxically demand the greatest degree of self-exertion, rigorous discipline, and unwavering commitment, while simultaneously requiring the least possible utilization of their own critical reasoning faculties, their own independent thought. And further, they tend to gravitate towards those doctrines that most conveniently accommodate their pre-existing inclinations, their inherent biases, their comfortable habits of mind. Criticism is the hallmark of our age. Our present age, this era we inhabit, is fundamentally an age of relentless criticism, a time in which every established tenet, every received wisdom, every ingrained belief must be subjected to rigorous scrutiny, to unflinching examination. Even the perceived sacredness of religion, even the entrenched authority of legislation are, in the eyes of many, no longer grounds for automatic exemption from the penetrating gaze of this critical tribunal. Indeed, if these domains seek to shield themselves from open inquiry, from public examination, they inevitably become subjects of justified suspicion, forfeiting their claim to the sincere respect that reason, in its unwavering commitment to truth, accords only to that which has courageously stood the test of free and public examination, emerging stronger, more refined, more authentically grounded in reason. Self-abasement invites exploitation. One who willingly diminishes themselves, who consciously chooses to make themselves a worm, crawling low on the ground, cannot, in any justifiable sense, complain afterwards if others, lacking respect for their self-imposed diminishment, proceed to step upon them, to treat them with the same lack of regard they have demonstrated towards themselves. Skepticism can be a path to clarity. Skepticism, often perceived as a negative stance, can in fact serve as a vital resting place for human reason, a necessary pause in the relentless pursuit of certainty. It is in this space of questioning, in this suspension of judgment, that reason can effectively reflect upon its own dogmatic wanderings, its past missteps, its ingrained biases, Skepticism allows for a comprehensive survey of the intellectual terrain, enabling reason to choose its future paths with greater clarity, with enhanced certainty, grounded in self-awareness and critical insight. Truth, even if painful, must prevail. If the unvarnished truth, in its raw, uncompromising form, possesses the power to shatter illusions, to dismantle falsehoods, to kill those who cling to comfortable delusions, then so be it. Let truth prevail, even if its revelation is painful, even if its consequences are disruptive. If the truth shall kill them, the stark pronouncement echoes, let them die. Philosophy's duty is to dispel illusions. It is indeed the solemn duty of philosophy, in its highest calling, to relentlessly dismantle the pervasive illusions that insidiously take root in the human mind, illusions that invariably originate from fundamental misconceptions, from flawed premises, from distorted perceptions of reality. This duty must be discharged with unwavering commitment, regardless of the emotional cost, regardless of the cherished hopes and deeply valued expectations that may be irrevocably ruined, shattered into fragments by philosophy's unflinching explanations, by its relentless pursuit of truth, even when that truth is unwelcome, uncomfortable, or profoundly unsettling. Beauty can be found in the small things. Look closely, truly see. For beauty, in its most authentic, most poignant form, may often be found in the seemingly insignificant, in the quiet details, in the small, often overlooked moments of existence. Do not underestimate the power of the miniature, the profound resonance of the understated. Innocence is fragile. Innocence, in its radiant purity, is undeniably a splendid, precious thing, a quality to be cherished and admired. Only, it possesses the unfortunate vulnerability of not keeping very well, of being inherently fragile in the face of experience, easily tarnished by the harsh realities of the world. And further, innocence, in its naivete, is often tragically susceptible to being easily misled, easily manipulated, easily exploited by those who lack such purity of heart. Freedom of thought shapes character and society, just as nature, in its profound wisdom, has carefully nurtured, protected, and ultimately uncovered from beneath the hard shell of ingrained dogma the very seed of free thinking, the innate human propensity and vocation for independent, unconstrained thought. So too does this liberated thinking gradually, inevitably, work its transformative magic upon the character of individuals, shaping their inner landscape, fostering self-reliance and critical awareness. And this individual transformation, in turn, ripples outward, gradually affecting the collective character of the people, the very fabric of society itself, ultimately influencing even the principles of government. Government, recognizing the evolving nature of humanity, eventually finds it to its own profound advantage to treat individuals, who are, after all, far more than mere automatons, far more than simple machines, in accordance with their inherent dignity, respecting their autonomy, valuing their capacity for reasoned thought and self-governance. Peace requires inner evolution. For true, lasting peace to genuinely reign on this earth, for harmony to permeate the human sphere, humanity itself must undergo a profound evolution, a fundamental shift in consciousness. Humans must evolve into new beings, beings who have cultivated the capacity to see the whole first, to transcend narrow self-interest, to embrace a perspective that encompasses the interconnectedness of all things, to prioritize collective well-being over individual gain. Peace begins within and radiates outward. Beauty is subjective, yet universally felt. In all judgments by which we confidently describe anything as beautiful, we implicitly, often unconsciously, assume a universality of perception, a shared aesthetic sensibility. We instinctively expect, even demand, that no one in their right mind could possibly hold a differing opinion, could genuinely perceive that same object as anything less than beautiful. Beauty, in this sense, transcends mere personal preference, aspiring towards a realm of universal, shared human experience. Education holds the key to perfection. How then, in this imperfect world, is perfection, that elusive ideal, to be earnestly sought? Wherein, amidst the complexities and contradictions of existence, lies our enduring hope for progress, for betterment, for the realization of our highest potential? The answer, simple yet profound, lies in education, and in nothing else. Cultivation of mind, expansion of consciousness, the lifelong pursuit of learning, these are the cornerstones of human flourishing, the pathways to a more enlightened future. Discipline shapes human nature. Humanity, in its raw, unrefined state, is inherently untamed, possessing a wild, often chaotic nature. Therefore, man, in his journey towards self-realization, must embrace discipline, must cultivate self-mastery, must willingly submit to the transformative power of structured learning and ethical refinement. Discipline is not constraint, but rather the chisel that sculpts raw potential into realized form. Imperfection is inherent to humanity. From the crooked timber of humanity, from the flawed, imperfect material of human nature itself, no perfectly straight, flawlessly righteous thing was ever or will ever be fashioned. Embrace imperfection, for it is the very essence of the human condition. Mind constructs reality within space and time. Space and time, these seemingly fundamental dimensions of existence, are, in truth, the inherent frameworks, the pre-existing structures, within which the human mind is fundamentally constrained to construct its subjective experience of reality. Our perception, our understanding, our very sense of what is inextricably bound by these mental constructs. Content and intuition are both essential for knowledge. Thoughts devoid of content, abstract concepts ungrounded in sensory experience, remain empty, devoid of substance, mere intellectual exercises. Conversely, intuitions, those flashes of insight, those visceral understandings that arise without conscious reasoning when divorced from the clarifying framework of concepts, remain blind, lacking direction, unable to be fully articulated or effectively utilized. True knowledge, authentic understanding, emerges from the dynamic interplay, the essential synthesis of both thought and intuition, content and concept, reason and feeling. Reason is the ultimate measure of the divine. Nothing, truly nothing, is more inherently divine, more aligned with the highest principles of existence than that which is fundamentally agreeable to reason, that which withstands the scrutiny of logic, that which resonates with the inherent order of the cosmos. Reason, in its purest form, is the closest we can come to apprehending the divine within the human realm. Society shapes our sense of refinement. Imagine a solitary man, utterly abandoned, adrift on a deserted island, completely removed from human society. Such a man, in his isolation, would likely feel no intrinsic need to adorn his humble dwelling, to embellish his own person with unnecessary ornamentation, nor would he seek out flowers, let alone cultivate them, solely for the purpose of personal adornment. It is only within the context of society, within the intricate web of human interaction, that the impulse arises, the desire emerges, to be perceived not merely as a functional human being, but as a refined human being, a cultivated individual, a person of taste and discernment according to the prevailing standards of their kind. Indeed, the very beginning of civilization, the nascent spark of collective human flourishing, can be discerned in this innate human inclination, this fundamental aptitude to communicate pleasure to others, to share joy, to seek mutual satisfaction in shared experiences, to recognize that true fulfillment is not solely a solitary pursuit, but rather a deeply social endeavor. And further, every individual, consciously or unconsciously, expects and even requires from everyone else this same inherent reference to the universal communication of pleasure, this implicit understanding that shared joy is a fundamental human imperative, as if dictated by an original compact, a primal agreement etched into the very fabric of humanity itself. The sublime transcends the beautiful, whereas the beautiful in its essence is inherently limited, bounded by form, defined by contours. The sublime, in stark contrast, is utterly limitless, boundless in its scope, defying all attempts at finite definition. Thus, the human mind, when confronted with the sublime, when attempting to grasp the immeasurable, to imagine the infinite, inevitably encounters a sense of pain in the inherent failure of its limited capacity to fully comprehend the truly limitless. Yet, paradoxically, within this very failure, within this humbling encounter with the boundaries of human understanding, lies a profound and unexpected pleasure, a sense of awe-inspired joy in contemplating the sheer immensity of the very attempt, in stretching the limits of consciousness to grapple with the unfathomable vastness of the sublime. Inner strength can overcome external hardship. In the very midst of winter's harshest grip, in the depths of external cold and desolation, I discovered a profound truth. There resided deep within the core of my being an invincible summer, a radiant warmth that no external force could extinguish. And this inner revelation, this unwavering flame of resilience, fills me with an enduring happiness, a deep sense of inner peace. For it affirms with unwavering certainty that no matter how relentlessly, how brutally the world pushes against me, no matter the intensity of external pressures or adversities, within me, at my very core, there exists something inherently stronger, something fundamentally better, something that pushes right back with equal, if not greater, force, a wellspring of indomitable spirit. Authenticity emerges from breaking free from societal expectations. For years, I relentlessly strived to live in accordance with the prescribed morals, the externally imposed expectations of everyone else. I forced myself with considerable effort to conform to the perceived norms, to live as everyone else lived, to present an outward appearance that mirrored the societal ideal. I meticulously curated my words, saying only what was deemed necessary to seamlessly integrate, to join together, even when, deep within, I felt profoundly separate, fundamentally different, intrinsically alone. And then, after the inevitable catastrophe arrived, after the carefully constructed facade crumbled into dust, now I wander amidst the debris of my former self, amidst the shattered remnants of a life lived inauthentically. I am, in this new landscape, lawless, unbound by external constraints, torn to pieces, yes, but also liberated, profoundly free, alone, utterly alone, and yet paradoxically accepting of this solitude, even embracing it, resigned not to defeat, but to my inherent singularity, to the unique contours of my being, to the very infirmities that render me distinctly, undeniably, me. And now, from these fragments, from this wreckage of inauthenticity, I must embark on the arduous, yet ultimately liberating task of rebuilding a new truth, a truth forged in the fires of self-discovery, a truth that resonates authentically with my deepest self. After having lived for the vast majority of my life in a carefully constructed, ultimately unsustainable lie. Absolute truth is elusive. If absolute, unwavering truth truly belongs to anyone in this vast, complex world, it most assuredly does not reside within the grasp of the individual or the political party or the ideological faction that arrogantly claims to possess it, to have dujan in the singular key to ultimate understanding. Happiness is not found in the pursuit of happiness. You will, inevitably, never attain genuine happiness, never experience lasting fulfillment if you persist in the futile endeavor of relentlessly searching for what happiness fundamentally consists of, if you chase after an abstract definition, a pre-packaged formula for contentment. And further, you will, paradoxically, never truly live, never fully engage with the vibrant unfolding of existence, if you remain perpetually preoccupied with the abstract quest for the ultimate meaning of life. If you allow the philosophical pursuit of purpose to overshadow the lived experience of being itself. Life is not a riddle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. Flexibility is strength. Blessed, truly blessed are the hearts that possess the capacity to bend, to yield, to adapt, to flow with the ever-changing currents of life. For these resilient hearts, these flexible spirits, shall never be irrevocably broken by the inevitable storms of existence. They bend, they sway, they yield, and in their yielding they endure, they thrive, they remain whole. Friendship is about presence, not direction. Don't walk in front of me seeking to lead, for I may not possess the inclination to follow blindly. Don't walk behind me expecting me to guide your path, for I may not be equipped nor desire to lead. Instead, walk beside me, journey alongside me in mutual respect, in shared humanity. Simply be my friend. Presence, authentic connection, reciprocal understanding. These are the cornerstones of true companionship. Beyond belief and disbelief, I find myself in a liminal space, a realm beyond the confines of conventional belief systems. I do not subscribe to a belief in a theistic deity, yet neither do I fully embrace the tenets of atheism. I exist in a space of agnostic contemplation, a realm of open questioning, a recognition of the profound mysteries that lie beyond the grasp of definitive pronouncements. Integrity transcends rules. There can be no meaningful discussion, no truly authentic articulation of rigid ethical codes, of predefined moral frameworks. For I have observed with my own eyes that individuals can behave with profound moral depravity while meticulously adhering to externally imposed codes of morality, masking their inner corruption with outward displays of piety. And conversely, I note, with increasing clarity each day, that genuine integrity, authentic ethical being, possesses no inherent need for externally imposed rules, for codified dictates of conduct. Integrity arises from within, an intrinsic compass guiding actions from a place of deep authenticity and self-awareness. The intellectual life is one of self-observation. An intellectual, yes, I embrace that descriptor unequivocally, without denial. For an intellectual, in my understanding, is fundamentally someone whose own mind becomes the object of its own unwavering observation. A consciousness perpetually watching itself, scrutinizing its own processes, questioning its own assumptions. This self-reflexive capacity, this meta-awareness, resonates deeply within me. For I find a profound sense of fulfillment in embodying both halves of this equation. I am simultaneously the watcher and the watched, the observer and the observed, the conscious mind and the object of its own contemplation. Can these seemingly disparate halves, this inherent duality, be truly, meaningfully put together, integrated into a cohesive whole? This, I believe, is the fundamental practical question that confronts each conscious being, the essential task to which we must all ultimately get down to. I confess I harbor a certain despise for mere intelligence, for intellect devoid of deeper wisdom, for cleverness unmoored from ethical grounding. What intelligence truly signifies in its most superficial manifestation is perhaps simply this: an inability to bear the inherent uncertainties, the unavoidable ambiguities, the profound doubts that are intrinsic to the human condition, a desperate flight from the uncomfortable terrain of the unknown. Culture shapes us powerfully. In the world, operating in a constant, often unseen parallel to the brute force of death, to the unyielding constraints of physical reality, there exists another force, equally potent, equally pervasive, an enormous, often subtle, power of persuasion that we call culture. This invisible web of shared beliefs, ingrained values, unspoken assumptions, and pervasive narratives shapes our perceptions, molds our behaviors, and ultimately defines the very contours of our collective reality. Normality can be exhausting. Few truly realize the immense, often invisible expenditure of energy, the constant internal struggle that some individuals undertake day after day, moment after moment, simply to be normal, to conform to societal expectations, to mask their authentic selves, to navigate a world that often feels fundamentally alien to their inner landscape. The pursuit of normality can be a profoundly draining, deeply exhausting endeavor for those whose inner compass points to a different, more authentic direction. Embrace fear and experience yourself fully. Get scared. Yes, deliberately, intentionally cultivate moments of fear, for it will, paradoxically, do you good. Give yourself permission to be overwhelmed, to feel vulnerable, to confront the edges of your comfort zone. Smoke if you must. Allow yourself moments of sensory indulgence. Stare blankly at ceilings. Let your mind wander, drift. Explore the uncharted territories of inner space. Beat your head metaphorically or even literally against metaphorical walls. Confront your limitations. Push against your perceived boundaries. Refuse to see certain people. Create intentional solitude. Cultivate moments of quiet introspection. Paint, write, create. Express the inexpressible yearnings of your soul. Get scared. Yes, deliberately, intentionally. Scare yourself some more. Delve into the shadows. Explore the unknown. Allow your little mind, your rational, controlling ego to simply do nothing but function, to step back, to relinquish control, to allow the deeper currents of your being to surface. Stay inside, retreat into the sanctuary of your inner world, or venture out. Engage with the external chaos. I don't particularly care what you do, but stay scared. Intentionally, deliberately, stay scared as hell. For you will inevitably never be able to fully experience everything that life has to offer, to exhaust the boundless depths of human experience. Therefore, I implore you, do poetical justice to your own precious soul. Honor its yearnings, acknowledge its complexities, and simply experience yourself in all your messy, magnificent, and ultimately unknowable totality. Love reveals our true vocation. When you have once even fleetingly witnessed the radiant glow of genuine happiness illuminating the face of a beloved person, when you have glimpsed the transformative power of authentic connection, you will, with unwavering certainty, know this profound truth: that a human being can have no higher, no more meaningful vocation than to love and be loved. Thank you for joining me on this journey of reflection. If these timeless insights resonated with you, please give this video a like, share it with someone who might find it helpful, and subscribe for more explorations into the art of living a meaningful life. Let's continue this conversation in the comments below. What resonated most with you, and what are your thoughts on finding meaning in our complex world? Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep cultivating your inner resilience.